Welcome back to the Pre-Vetted podcast, where we spotlight extraordinary people and remarkable talent reshaping our world. Today, we are joined by Madhuri Somara. She's Senior Product Manager at Microsoft, where she leads AI agents, NLP, and intelligent automation initiatives. She has over a decade of experience. She has built a career at the intersection of advanced AI technologies and user-friendly applications. She has played a key role in launching transformative generative AI solutions, including the high-impact autonomous agents announced at Microsoft Ignite 2024. Most recently, Madhuri was honored with the 2025 Product Leader Award by Products That Count. I recognize her as one of the outstanding product leaders shaping innovation and impact across industries. Beyond her work at Microsoft, Madhuri also serves on the editorial board of Women in AI Ethics, advocating for responsible innovation and diverse voices in technology. Madhuri, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Federico. I'm excited to be here. And thank you for reaching out to me. I have been seeing your podcasts, and I'm really excited and looking forward to this session.
Amazing. I'm honored to have you here today. First, before we start with the questions, congratulations on the Product Leader Award. That's a great achievement.
Thank you. Absolutely. And that's a great intro. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Awesome. So what first drew you to product management and AI? How did your journey evolve to Microsoft?
Absolutely. That's a great first question. Before even becoming a product manager, I actually started my career as an AngularJS developer for a government client in New York. I was an intern, so I was wearing multiple hats. Like I was a business analyst as well. So which kind of gave me exposure to both the sides. So I was writing the code and I was also talking to the customers actually. So during this process, I quickly realized, that I was enjoying conversations with customers more than actually writing the code. Kind of realization pulled me into the product management where I actually could blend that customer empathy, design ideas, the vision, and, even looking at the data, finalizing those product features or prioritizing those product features. And then after internship, when I joined Avanade, I was much closer to this Microsoft ecosystem, designing and delivering solutions on Microsoft Dynamics and Azure, which I was working on even before that. So over these years, I developed an understanding how these product features are strategized, prioritized, and launched. So there's a lot of effort that goes into it, right? So even with the vision and, launching it. So after nearly 7 years of working on that product strategy and product features, launching and everything of that sort, I kind of, it felt natural to me that the next logical step or next best step for me is to join the mothership itself. And I genuinely manifested that move. I built relationships in LinkedIn, reached out to Microsoft PMs, talked about what they do, understood, what they do in a day, how they prioritize these features and everything like that. So I really positioned myself for the opportunity. I was intentional in trying to be on the mothership. So yeah, today at Microsoft, I'm working on, the AI agents for customer service. It's like a full circle journey for me. Absolutely.
Amazing. I think that when you have a fun objective, you can focus your energy until you achieve it. I don't recall if I told you the story, but I joined Microsoft when I was 16 years old, and I had a similar situation that I was coached by people at Microsoft, and I was like, well, that's my dream. I want to join the company, right? And then 8 months later, I was in the company, and it happened so fast.
I know.
Yeah, so I can relate to that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you manifested joining the Microsoft as well. So yep, manifestation is powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I had a great experience there. I learned a lot from a lot of people. This was like 20 plus years ago when Microsoft was going from being this crazy cool company to being more of a, serious company, quote unquote, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So they building more of a enterprise policies and things like that. But I heard a lot of fun stories. So that was fun. So looking back, what pivotal moments or projects shaped your career path the most?
Good question. So let me start with saying this. I wouldn't say there's one particular moment that happened overnight. So my direction or my vision or my desire to be in product management became clearer with every project or like even every person I met, every team I was on, every challenge that I faced, right? So during the internship process or in companies where I was working as a product part, in this process, I went from writing code to thinking about, the customer, how they want the product to work for them, right? So looking back, there's not one moment that really shaped me. So there is a collection of moments. The first one that I could think of is for me, deciding that I have to do my master's in US, like thousands of international students, chasing new possibilities. So it wasn't just about academics for me. It was about adjusting to a new culture, new work ethic, or, even selling my idea. It's totally different. I learned a new way of selling my idea, getting everybody on board, in the teams. So I learned all of that here, and that helped to strategize my path and gave me the confidence to navigate the change, like ambiguity around me. And there's another defining moment where I was working with a mentor who helped shift my mindset. Like, while I was working with him, I am working with him. Now he helped me focus on how to build a product from the customer's point of view, how to solve real problems, not just, making some fancy stuff and stuff like that. So that perspective really changed a lot for me. That's how I approach prioritization and even decision making and even how I build the features today. So yeah, those are some moments that I could think of.
Yes, I mean, sometimes we don't know the good times, right? Until they already passed, right? Or we don't have like one specific aha moment, but it's the accumulation of all the decisions that we make that help us get where we are, right? So it's more of a evolution than a revolution, right?
Absolutely. You're spot on. Like now that you're saying that, that's actually true. Because when I was working on internships or when I was working in those companies, it wasn't clear. I wasn't realizing the value of, learnings I'm getting from the companies and, from my mentors. But now when I look back, it's huge. That's what shaped my career path. So yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah, this is a little off topic, but this remind me of Schwarzenegger in an interview. He was talking about on Terminator, he wanted to change the phrase from I'll be back to I will be back, right? Because he thinking is like, well, machines don't use contraptions, right? And eventually, there was a back and forth and it was decided to I'll be back. But at that time, he didn't think much of it other than that. But then people pick up that phrase and that kind of resonate with people, right? So he was saying sometimes you said phrases that you don't know which one are going to resonate with people, right? So, and that kind of stick with his career, because people ask him to say I'll be back all the time, right? So anyway, I think the same thing happens, right? I mean, you work on projects and you don't know how that's going to affect the future of your career, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So can you share us a little more about your time at Avanade and GS1 US, how that prepared you for leading AI initiatives at Microsoft?
Absolutely. So those two are out of my career. Those two are my favorite companies as well. But both my time at GS1 US and Avnod, they played a huge role in shaping how I think about products now, products and people, like, how to talk to customers or like how they are thinking to understand what customers want, right? Even for example, at GS1 US, which actually supports millions of businesses, globally they're the barcode manufacturers and data standards. So my only job at GS1 US was to make life simple for the customer service team. And I remember I once built a Power Automate flow where it was just autofilling a few fields. For me, it really seemed minor, but I started getting thank you messages from the support engineers from the customer service team. And I was thinking, I just sat and thought, like, is this really such a big deal? It was pretty quick for me. Then I went on and shadowed them, like how they do things in talking to the customers and stuff like that. Then I realized it is pretty interesting or it is pretty impactful for them because, that removed that automating couple of clicks, removing the friction from their workflow means a lot to them, right? So even it comes from removing small daily pain points that makes people's jobs easier. That's that's a big deal for them. So that's when I understood, okay, even if you're saving a couple of clicks, it's huge in that particular workflow in the support engineer's daily life. And even at Avanade, right? After GS1 US, I joined Avanade, and I worked closely with financial customers, right? Where data accuracy, compliance, all of these are like really important for them. It mattered so much for these. Even now, we all know, right? For financial clients, it matters so much. Seeing how even a simple, slight gap can cause a disturbance across their entire systems, that gave me an understanding or sense to take that precision, or like even how to prioritize those products or product features, how to build around this data compliance standards and all of this. That gave me a deeper understanding of the systems, right? So all these experiences actually helped me gain empathy towards a customer. I was on both the sides, customers and, who are experiencing the product and who are building the product, right? So, this really helped me. And that's how I lead, or I work on AI initiatives at Microsoft today. It's really helpful for me. Yeah.
Right. That's interesting. I think that the key for product management is empathy, as you said it. Because usually what happens is that we build this disconnect, right? When you're a small clog in a bigger machine, right? When in enterprise projects you don't have the feedback loops from the users, right?
Right.
As quickly as you would on an internal application, as you were sharing before, because there are more steps, there are forms, so you don't get the excitement until later. So there's more complexity and delays to get that. It took me a while to figure out that as well on the product side, right? I come from a software engineering background, and I've been doing product ownership on some of the projects that I've been building. So I've been kind of jumping on both sides, right? It took me a while to understand that as a software engineer, our job is to add value to the user, right? To make sure that we are making their life simple, but basically making sure that what we build, understanding what's in it for them. I want to do this, so, and then be able to facilitate that for happening, right? And when you work on an internal application, it's amazing because you can uniquely identify the users, right? They have a name. Whereas on a SaaS application or a enterprise project, those names become fuzzy because it's more of a volume project.
Exactly.
You don't know the users by name. You know them by volume, right?
No, that actually, yeah, those little things, right? So it adds up a lot. Like, if we start enhancing those little things, it does help customers and end users as well, so as you said, right? So yeah, totally agree.
Right. So recently you helped launch autonomous agents at Ignite 2024. Can you share the vision behind that project?
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite parts of what I have been working on since 4 years at Microsoft, right? So the AI agents that I have been working on is case management agent. And obviously, there is definitely an overlap between other AI agents like customer engagement agent or knowledge management agent. Like these are all powerful AI agents, right? So let me tell you this. So all these agents, the vision behind this, I like the question, right? So because the vision is what made possible, for building these AI agents. So let me start by saying this. It's not definitely built in silos, right? But built very intentionally to build this, to make this customer experience flawless and, pretty smart end to end. And also, I'm pretty sure it wasn't built with a mindset like, just build it, they'll come adapt. We'll get the customers. So it wasn't built with that mindset. Intention and focus was always on solving real customer pain points. And I'm sure you'll hear me a lot of times talking about customer pain points because I believe in it to hear them out. So yeah, it's definitely, we are focused on solving those pain points. And when I started working on this, like case management agent, which I own, I made it a point to speak to directly with the end users, like hearing their experiences, like, shadowing them, understanding their workflows, where even their sentiments when they're dealing with the product, like where are they getting frustrated, for example, right? So the solutions we prioritized truly now they're in production, it is making their work easy. Now, seeing these external customers use these agents and experience that aha moment, which we were talking about, so it's incredibly rewarding for me, even to see how their lives are becoming easier. So that's when you know that, the work that you have done truly resonates and delivers impact, right? Truly resonates with end users. So yeah, I really loved being part of it. I'm definitely, thankful to my leaders who chose me to be part of it. So it's one of the most rewarding experiences for sure.
Amazing, amazing. Can you expand a little bit on what the product is about? What
Absolutely.
case studies solves?
Absolutely. So I'll talk about case management agent first. So the case management agent, what it does is every single organization has a support team or a customer service team, right? So they have this protocol that they have to follow from the case creation or an incident creation, even for organizations like Amazon, other huge organizations like laptop companies, like debit card, credit card companies. They do have a protocol or a process that they have to follow from the case creation till the follow-up on closure. So what case management agent does is from the beginning till the end, everything is automated. The case update is automatically done with few very straightforward knobs where you can set according to your preferences, according to your company, and then how the case is troubleshooted, like how, the resolution is found out and you're sharing with the customer, and how you have to follow up and close the case, right? So all this process is completely automated without human intervention. But I wouldn't say, that's one of the things that I don't want to say it like without human intervention, because we do have human in the loop. Human can always look at like what's happening on the case, can oversee the case, what's happening and all of that. So that's pretty huge, right? Even when I'm saying this right now, from creation to closure, there are like multiple boilerplate tasks, like, you fill the form, you create cases, you follow up, draft emails. There's many things that can be automated, that should have been automated. So that's what case management agent does.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that a better way to phrase it is that the agents can make decisions autonomously or independently and with a high level of trust.
Absolutely.
Because, I think that's one of the core issues with this type of automations, right? Can I trust a non-deterministic agent, right?
Yep.
And I think that's the most important thing. And then instead of human in the loop, because human in the loops means that now the agent depends on the human to proceed. Here you have human supervision, but the agent can independently move forward.
Absolutely. It's really, yeah. Now seeing customers use it, like it's amazing, like what they are saving, and how much time and how much, how faster the resolution is now. It's pretty
Right. Yeah. I'm building an agent to automate hiring and screening for technical talent.
it's amazing.
And I'm working on the challenges of trust, right? Can I trust the agent? And how much supervision versus human in the loop do I need to make sure that the quality doesn't degrade with the automation?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's be in touch then. I would love to hear more about it.
Yeah, I'm happy to share more information about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what is the biggest challenge when you're, bringing cutting edge AI research with user friendly applications?
Right. So, like, here's what I think, right? So, as a product manager, I'm responsible for designing that entire end-to-end flow, which I just talked about, case management agent, for example, right? And I'm also asking the design and engineering teams to trust my vision and execute on it, right? So what I think is the biggest challenge in bridging cutting edge AI research with user-friendly applications is making sure it truly resonates with the real users. Like, are we solving the real problem, or are we just, envisioning something which doesn't make sense at all, right? So even now when I'm thinking about the product or feature, like I always have that thought in the back of my mind, like, are we solving the real problem? Is it going to be useful for the users? So that's something, because me and my team are investing a lot of energy and wants the solution to genuinely solve customer pain points. So for me, at least, there's no other way to build these AI solutions than by centering them on, human usability or customer usability and pain points, But on the contrary, I think that having that tension between technical innovation and usability is actually a good thing. So it ensures that we are building meaningful agents or solutions that truly help people, rather than just being impressive on the paper, or rather than just building something which is not used by the customers. So yeah, I see it as a good thing to have that tension.
Yeah, I think that part of the process of building a product is about user experience, accessibility, and I used to think that user experience was about make it pretty, right? And that was
Right.
probably a very shortcoming vision from my side, right? But anyway, but then I learned that there's more to that. It's also understanding the behavior patterns, where the buttons should be located. How can you set, once you have consistency in the interfaces, then the users will be able to find information where they expect it. So building that dynamic, that is the role for the UX.
Yeah.
And I've seen how that helps a lot on the product side, right?
You said it right, the user behavior, right? That's a key journey that you have to track as well, like, how to make it easy for the end users. So yeah, that's right.
Right. Right. I evolved my vision for you designer evolved, not vision, but understanding the role that the designers has on the process of building software products evolved throughout the years, where now I can see how bringing a designer from the beginning of gathering the requirements and talking to the users can be beneficial and not only make it look pretty, which is the byproduct of the UX, but make it user-friendly, predictable, accessible, and an effective tool to use.
Absolutely. Yep. Totally agree.
And then the other part that I learned throughout that process is the UX and the product owners can work together on building more clear requirements for the engineering team instead of having to go back and forth, right? And then I was able to optimize the process. So now the engineering team will not depend as much on the product team or
Right.
the product owners, because now they have everything they need to actually be able to build it. And that will make, I mean, as a software engineer, you understand this, right? When you don't have all the requirements and then you're like asking questions, what do I have to do next, right? So it's frustrating on the engineering side, right? So we were able to optimize that, and then we're able to be more predictable on the deliverables, right? Which
Absolutely.
help a lot. But then on the process, I also learned that on the engineering side, we kind of lose the vision of what's the value for the user, right? Because we just deal with the product owner, we don't deal with the user, right? So, once I understood that, then I was able to say, what's the value for the user? How can I build this feature so it can provide the most value for the user, right? And
Right.
that changed a lot how I build software after I make that discovery.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our engineering team will definitely agree with that. So yeah.
So what role does customer feedback play in shaping AI product experiences?
That's a good question, because what I think about customer feedback is, for me at least, customer feedback is everything, honestly. So even when I think about the products that I'm building, or, features that I'm trying to prioritize and launch, customer feedback is everything to me. As I was also just mentioning about, the case management agent, right? So, when I started building case management agent, So it was pretty much, I had to make a point that I'm talking to the end users and understand their entire journey, like where I'm seeing that friction, where I'm seeing that the good part of the feature that they like, and what they hate most, or what they like most, right? So all of this, for me, definitely customer feedback is really, really key. How I think about, prioritizing features. And also, as I said, like I told you, like you'll hear me saying, that solving that customer pain points is, really important, rather than just, thinking about a product feature just so you think it's fancy, right? You cannot implement something like that. And I really see every interaction with users as an opportunity to understand their workflows, as I was just mentioning. So yeah, so this, I think customer feedback is, whenever I think about building a feature, or whenever I think about anything that I have to build next, I'll definitely go talk to the customers, or go talk to the users to understand what exactly their pain point. And even when they're talking, I sense the sentiment and, all of that. So this is all, I think it's a foundation of building meaningful AI experiences, at least for me personally.
Right. I agree, completely agree. I mean, the customer feedback in any form, it's about the most valuable information for you to be able to execute on your role, because you have the power to execute the vision, but also, but all start from the input that the customer provides, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's a delicate balance of pushing your vision, which requires, I don't want to say stubbornness, but perseverance, right? Because you're trying to change, to build something that doesn't exist, right? And then having the sensitivity to listen what the customer wants, right? And being able to incorporate that into the vision, right? It's a very challenging activity to do.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, that's totally true. Like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, are you solving the real problems, or are you thinking innovatively? It has to be a mix of both, right? So you can't just stop building something just because, customers didn't ask for it, or, so, even with, when you're thinking about a feature, like tying it back to, if tying it back to that pain point, like at least a part of the pain point that if you're trying to solve, I think that's a delicate balance, as you were just mentioning. You can make any feature hit or a miss. So if you have to find that middle ground for sure.
Yeah, I think this is on Steve Jobs' movie. They were saying, he was saying, like, people don't know what they want, right, until you show it to them, right?
Yeah,
So I believe that there's some truth into that, right? But
that's
also, I don't know if you've seen The Simpsons when Homer builds a car, right?
sounds, yeah.
There's an episode where he meets his lost brother. He has a car company, and he's in charge of designing the new car, right? Because he's the common man, right? And the car is a disaster because it incorporates all the crazy features that people ask them
Yeah,
without coherence, right? Without thinking about the final product.
absolutely.
What I was talking about, right? It's this balance, right? If you say yes to everything, then you have a crazy product that doesn't work, right? If you go Steve Jobs way, then you can get to this minimalist product, right? Finding that balance is a challenge, right?
Absolutely. I think that's where that core product management skill comes into handy, right? So you can say no for everything, obviously, and you can say yes for everything as well. So like you have to find that, right thing, what matters, really matters, um, helps for adoption as well. You have to think about, adoption as well. It's somewhere in the, back of the mind as well, right? So yeah, I think that's where the core product management skill lies for sure.
Right. Yeah. And this applies for AI and non-AI products as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's across. Like, it doesn't matter AI or non-AI. So absolutely.
So changing a little bit of topics, you mentioned in a meeting before about AI Evals. So why do you think AI evaluations are becoming so important for product managers?
Absolutely. So that's another good question. So we have, all of us together, we have entered a new era, like where products don't just follow instructions, right? So, we used to create workflows like, with giving a set of instructions, like, if if it happens, do this, or if it doesn't happen, do this. Like that set of instructions were followed by products, but not anymore. Like, we are having these models which are learning and adapting, right? So, which means we all have to change together. And it's not just, building those models. We have to make them when the models are going out into customers' hands. That's where we have to be more confident, at least for ourselves, right? These customers, when they're adapting these AI agents, they have to be confident as well that model is acting how they would like to, not vice versa, right? So I think even when I started working on this case management agent, right, like we were not just launching another feature, we were building AI agents that interacts directly with customers on behalf of these large enterprises that we work with, that are customers, right? That's a huge responsibility on us. In intuition or like basic testing, right? It wasn't enough anymore. It wasn't enough. I think that's where the strong AI evals and golden data sets come into the picture. So to be confident of what you're building and what you're rolling out to the customers, like, it's a huge responsibility on our shoulders as well. So that's where these things are, helping us to make sure we are shipping what customer wants. We are shipping the models how customer wants technically.
Right. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
From what you're describing, AI evals reminds me to BDD on the coding, but here you're dealing with AI behavior, right? How AI is going to behave, and the evals will allow you to make sure that it remains within the expected behavior.
Sadly, that's true.
Interesting.
Yeah. Recently, I'm sorry. Yeah. I was just saying,
Yeah,
recently
go
I
ahead.
started, learning a lot of things about this AI evals and stuff like that. Now I think about it, like we cannot ship anything without, evaluating it, even like the models that we are building, right? So it's just to make sure that you're building the right product and shipping the right product to the customer. So I cannot think shipping something without AI evals. No. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
It's when the tools become so useful that now you depend on these new tools to move forward, right?
Right. Yep. That's true.
So how do you navigate the tension between AI capabilities and responsible use in enterprise settings?
I believe we should use AI where it clearly adds value, right? But also set boundaries, Just because we can use AI doesn't mean we should, right? I go back to this customer pain points and customer feedback, right? When you're building something, a product or a feature, just because you can use AI or just because you can make a product fancy, we shouldn't be building those products like that. So you should still ground yourself with, the user experience and, with the customer pain points. As I mentioned, like you'll hear me a lot talking about these customer pain points. So absolutely, like wherever you see that market fit gap, technically, if you think that product is lacking these enhancements or lacking these capabilities, that's where you should obviously use AI, or you should enhance that product feature. We should use AI where it really adds value and where it shows that powerful impact for the end users and for the customers. So yeah,
Great.
I think how I will navigate the tension. So I don't really, I don't want to go back and forth between, oh, should I use the AI or like, should I, it's just solve the customer pain point. So I will first think about like, how do I solve this issue with or without AI? So that's how I'll ground myself, my thoughts, and that's how I navigate the tension between both of those.
Interesting. Yeah. Because you you're thinking of AI as another tool in your tool set rather than, just AI first kind of thing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, AI first is something that we all have to agree on. But if there is an opportunity to use AI, definitely. But, if it doesn't make sense to add it there, if it doesn't make sense to infuse AI there, I wouldn't really force it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree that AI can have so many use cases, can have a significant impact on product development, both on the building the product, but also adding value to the users. But yes, but I can also see that it is not a one tool that fits everything, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that I think that I've seen that issue happening a lot on the market where people say, well, I have a hammer now. Everything I see are nails, right? So, I've seen people saying, well, now that we have AI, I want to apply to everything because everything will be able to be solved with AI, which is
I
not the
know, right?
case, right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the vibe that I'm seeing as well. Like, I may or may not agree with it, but that's exactly the vibe I see it as well.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't make sense, right? It actually overcomplicates things for no reason, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. One more key takeaway while we are just navigating this tension, right? So we could having that human in the loop, for example, it sounds fancy to just, have no human in the loop. It definitely sounds fancy, and that's where we are all headed to. But at least for now, I think having that human in the loop or having that, human judgment where it really matters, I think that's the key as well. Like while you're developing features or while you're working on the AI features. So that's something, creates confidence for the users.
Yeah, because I mean, for me, automation is great when it works, but when it doesn't, it's a nightmare, right? And it can go, yes, and it can go fast very quickly, right? Because
Yeah.
now the power of automation is actually multiplying the mistakes that then you have to go back and fix manually, right? So I'm I'm always careful about automating things because of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to women and underrepresented voices looking to break into AI product leadership?
Sure. These are two things that I say to myself regularly. um, I try to do this as well. So two things, even with my mentees that from my university, like I coach a few of the university students from my university. I went to Fairleigh Dickinson. So two things that really matters or really plays a huge role is network actively, like try to build relationships with mentors, peers, and there are tons of resources out there, tons of mentors out there who are ready to coach. You have to do your homework to find them, really good one. So network actively. LinkedIn is the best place to find mentors and other things as well, like peers who can practice with you, peers who can just brainstorm with you and all of that. So networking is really number one for me. And the second one is curiosity, like be curious. Unfortunately, this is not something that, someone can teach you, right? So you have to be genuinely curious. Like in this AI world, we are all learning together, right? Even now, personally, I have never seen these many podcasts or I have never read these many newsletters in my life. Along with yours, Federico, I watch a lot of podcasts on yours as well. So there are like tons of resources out there. Like be curious, start, gathering all those resources, listening, reading, that's the only way we could stay afloat, honestly, if you ask me. And even if you're working with engineers or designers, ask them questions like, how did you write this code? Or how did you build this model? And what was your intention with coming up with this design? Those kind of questions, honestly, like wherever you see an opportunity, try to learn. That's what I say to myself and my mentees.
Right. My favorite advice that from you is, that they should listen to my podcast. But joking aside, I think that's a great advice. I mean, networking it's a great way to meet people that in the future are going to either you're going to be able to help them or they're going to be able to help you.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing potential. Yeah. And when is the best time to start? Now, right?
Now, right now. Yep,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah. And very interesting that you're mentoring students. I think that's amazing.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I have, a handful of, university students that I just talk to them regularly. I took them to the campus. One of them was here in Atlanta from Jersey. So I took them to the campus and showed him around. And he wrote me back saying it was very helpful for him to put his, career thoughts in a direction. But yeah, I love, trying to give back what I can. So yeah.
Amazing. So talking a bit about the future, where do you see agentic AI and automation having the biggest impact over the next 5 years or so?
Yeah, that's a good futuristic question. So I think over the next 5 years, I think agentic AI and automation, like, I think will reshape everything, how work gets done, not just in customer service, because I'm talking about customer service because I do work for a customer service product, not just in customer service, but across sales, marketing, IT, and almost every function, right? So from handling boilerplate tasks end to end, like surfacing insights, resolving issues autonomously, there's a ton that it could, that could happen in the next 5 years, I think. And with this reshaping, I think this will free humans to focus on most creative, like strategic and high judgment tasks, which is important, right? And I'm actually excited to be part of the shift because even now with the Copilot, with M365 Copilot or Researcher Agent that I use a lot, I see many of those boilerplate tasks, like autonomous tasks. I can just give it to Copilot. For example, even if I have to book an appointment for something, I just use Copilot, like compare all these providers or all these saloons and just book something for me, right? So all these tasks are automated, and I could see myself just trusting Copilot do something for me autonomously while I'm just sitting back and relaxing. Right? I'm genuinely excited to be part of the shift and seeing firsthand how humans and AI together will set the world in motion for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, what new skills should future product managers develop to stay relevant in the age of AI?
Got it. Honestly, I would love to know the answer for that too. uh, but first and foremost, like Satya actually said in his newsletter yesterday, which came out, one thing I like what he says always is be a learn it all rather than know it alls. Like, you should keep learning, be curious, like learn wherever you find an opportunity, right? So I think going back to what we were discussing, I would say be proactive and curious because there are a lot of trends and a lot of things that are happening right now. So we can't just wait for the latest AI trends to land in your lap. So it doesn't really happen. You have to go after them and we have to seek it out or experiment, learn, read, and stuff like that. And another key takeaway that I have been hearing a lot from product managers these days is, you're prioritizing a feature. Let's just infuse AI, right? Like, again, what we were discussing earlier, like, don't use AI just because you can. Even I heard one of our leaders speak the same thing, right? There has to be a meaningful reason to incorporate something into your products, right? AI, I think, should solve real problems and should not be a fancy add-on, in my opinion. So yeah, those are two things that I would keep in mind as well while I'm, navigating this shift along with thousands of product managers.
Right. And I've been noticing this trend related to new skills that it's about because now people are using more and more AI to do their work every day, right? This applies for product managers, but I think it also applies for other roles.
For everyone. Yep.
Right. Yeah. For everybody else. The thing is, they rely so much that then they lose the ability, they lose the know how to do things, right? And the underlying whys, right? I mean, I'm very familiar with Ruby on Rails, the framework that I love the most. And probably happens to you with Angular as well, that you get to the point where you know what methods to use to do what you want to do because you have the familiarity with the framework. But then, if I have to build a script in Python, I don't have much experience with it. So I can use AI, just, I wrote this in Ruby, just help me translate it to Python. It works, right? But in that process, you don't learn Python. It used to be that if you need to write Python, you have to learn Python. So I'm finding that this trend would make more valuable the core skills we were talking about before, right? Understanding how things work under, to a deeper level. They said something similar with calculators, right? When kids start to use calculators, they're going to forget how to do math, which it happened, right? I mean, now kids, well, no kids anymore. I'm grown up, but we depend more on having a calculator to do math, right?
No, you're right, Federico, because when I started working on AI, that's exactly what I was thinking as well. Probably we'll lose that basic thinking or, basic things that we are doing with or automating with AI now. But I think I'm also a firm believer that AI is here to help us and not replace us. Like, while you said, like, we'll lose the opportunity of learning Python, but we'll also gain the opportunity of, how to, prompt engineer, like how to play with the prompts, right? So there's definitely another, direction that we could focus our energy into, right? So definitely, as you said, there is some inevitable loss, right? Like less hire for manual roles, certain boilerplate tasks disappearing. But that's part of, as you were mentioning, but that's part of every major technological shift. So I think, yeah, there's an opportunity and there's also some loss, honestly. So, yep. We should all focus where we can focus our energy into different things like prompt engineering or like do something which matters to you most, right? Like, spending time with families while monotonous tasks are taken care by AI. So yeah, that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Interesting. So we're running out of time, so I'll ask you one last question, and then we'll wrap it up.
Absolutely.
What excites you the most about the future of AI?
Absolutely. What excites me most is how it can take that mental load off so we can focus on what humans can do best, right? Like what we're exactly talking. Like while Microsoft Copilot or, my researcher agent is taking care of booking an appointment for me, I'm spending time with my kids. That matters most to me, right? So, like these things, like I'm excited to see how it's taking that mental load off of me, even no shame in admitting it, right? So, before AI, I was spending a couple of days, if I have to send an org wide email, I was spending a couple of days to draft that email, like seeing every single word, proofreading it, like, just drafting it really perfectly. But now with AI, that's just doing that, that's giving that head start for me, like, drafting the, skeleton for me so I can just build on top of it, right? So it's just now I just probably spend a couple of hours in sending out the org wide email, right? So that's how, it's while it's automating few of my tasks, I can do something which is more valuable to me, right? And that being said, at the same time, I also stay cautious because AI, we are in that midst of like AI isn't perfect yet. So that's where we are all headed. Like it's going to be perfect one day or not. But yeah, I stay cautious. Like there are a few things while it's booking my appointment, I'll see like if it's, using my card in a good way. I have to trust that like there's a reliability aspect to it, all of that, privacy, security, all of these are like really important, right? So I do stay cautious, but yeah, that's what I think. Cautious optimism is where I stand today. I think all of us. So absolutely.
Amazing, amazing. I feel we could keep talking for hours, but we're running out of time. So
Yeah.
I want to truly appreciate it for you joining us today, Madhuri. Any last remarks before we wrap it up?
I really had so much fun, Federico. Thank you so much again for having me here. I had fun. Thank you. Looking forward to talking to you
Thank you.
again. Yep. Bye bye.
Me too.
Bye bye.